I read it in a little magazine about these autistic children.
I read an article in the paper, but I didn't like to believe it.
A friend sent us an article from a national newspaper describing autistic children.
Autistic children are very severely handicapped because, to put it very simply, they can see, but they can't understand what they see. They can hear, but they can't understand what they hear. This means that they don't understand what other people are talking about. They can't speak themselves, say anything very meaningful. And not only are they not able to understand words, they also can't understand people's gestures, people's facial expressions, people's bodily movements, all the other kinds of language which we use all day and every day. A deaf child, of course, can't hear words, but he can understand what people are meaning through their expressions. But an autistic child is cut off in the same way that a child who's born deaf and blind together is cut off from understanding the world. This obviously produces a lot of difficulties in behaviour because the children are backward in social understanding as well. And they are very difficult in that they have temper tantrums, may be destructive, they may scream day and night, scream in the street, behave in all sorts of ways which make life very hard for the family and their parents.
I think the autistic child's life, before he has any help, is chaotic. I think he's fed and all these things are going on around him of which he can make no sense whatsoever. The whole thing is chaotic. Things are moving, people are talking, it doesn't mean anything to him, sound is coming in, things are going by. All the time this has to be explained, pointed out, pinpointed to him.
Come on, you say it. Neville, you say it. Blue, look at it. Look at it. Blue. Blue. Come on. Come on, there's a good lad. Blue.
Blue.
Good boy.
If you watch these children when they're still quite young, you can observe a lot of different symptoms. For example, you may see them rocking to and fro. You may see them covering their ears to cut out a sudden sound.
What is this?
They will often take you by the hand and put your hand on an object that they want, or get your hand to do something for them. They have all sorts of habits of movement, perhaps tapping on a chair before they sit down, or touching some part of themselves before they carry out the next action.
Come on, then, you get what you want to do. Do you want to do this? Good boy.
And they very often explore the world by smelling things and licking them and tasting them.
Come on. What's this? Aeroplane. Good boy. Good boy. Put it with the aeroplane. Another thing you have to remember, I think, is that these children are unable to generalise. Because he recognises a model of a car, a picture of a car actually moving may not be associated with the picture of a car. What is this, Bobby?
Table.
Dressing table.
Dressing table.
Can you put it with a picture? Good boy. What is this, Bobby?
Chair.
Chair. Will you put it with the chair? Good boy. What is that, Bobby?
Settee.
Can you put it with the settee? Good boy. What word is that, Bobby?
Wardrobe.
Will you put it with the wardrobe? Can you put it with a picture of the wardrobe? Good boy. Good boy. Good.
I'm quite sure that it's related to some problem in the brain, in the parts of the brain that deal with language and the ability to handle symbols and the ability to interpret the environment and understand it and make it into a pattern that's that's the same as everybody else's pattern. That's where the problem lies, and essentially this is an organic difficulty. It's likely that whatever happens occurs at a fairly late stage in pregnancy because the children are so often quite normal in appearance. But the most important thing about human beings is that they can understand language and can communicate with each other, and this is what these children lack. If you're tone deaf for music, it doesn't matter twopence. If you're tone deaf for language, it matters the whole world.
No, 141.
Not.
That's right. 1 less than 6. Good.
No. 1.
9 into 9.
1.
Right, 9 into 8. Will 9 go into 8?
No.
So you put down a
No.
naught.
No.
All children can learn. All children can gain something from a teaching environment. However little your child progresses in the accepted term of the word, he does make some progress. If a child only uses the toilet for the first time in his life at 8, this is progress.
We had a wonderful party, and Joe had the will of the town. Now that we really repented, everything's gonna be fine.
There's been a special study carried out to find out how many autistic children there are, and we've estimated that for school-age children there are about 3,000 or so in England and Wales. Out of this 3,000, about 114 at the latest count are placed in units that are specially set up for autistic children. Another 1,000 or so, perhaps at a rough guess, are in other kinds of schools, not specially designed for autistic children. The rest of them, that's getting on for 2,000, are either at home with no provision at all or else in mental subnormality hospitals.
When he was born, he was perfectly normal, healthy, and after a few months it gradually dawned on me that he wasn't quite right. He wasn't like other babies. I couldn't really put my finger on it, but I knew he was different to my friend's baby down the road. And when he reached 9 months old, I was pretty sure he was abnormal. He just took no interest at all in anything to do with talking or speech. And I noticed he didn't understand what I said to him. And he wouldn't show any affection or love. He hated being cuddled. He never used to like sitting on my lap. It seemed to annoy him whenever I spoke to him.
Stephen! Stephen! Come here. Listen, say, where's Liz?
Baby.
Where's Liz?
Baby.
Say, at work.
Baby.
Say, at work.
Bum.
At work.
Bum.
Where's Mummy?
Baby.
Give me a kiss.
Baby. When he got to about 2, I took him to the clinic and they suggested he was deaf. I'd already read an article on autistic children, and it wasn't a very good article, so I didn't really think Stephen was autistic, but I just had the feeling at the back of my mind that he may be, and I didn't realise that it was an illness. I never heard of autism before.
Come here. Stephen, stop it. Now say brick. Say brick. Brick. Brick.
Apart from the fact he doesn't speak, he can't control himself at all, really. He can't control his feelings in front of people.
Green. Green, Christopher. White. What colour's that one?
Of course, now he's 5, he should be at school, and he's not. He's just stuck at home. He's attending a nursery 3 mornings a week, which has done him no good at all, really. And they're very good to him, and they do try to get him to talk, but without much success. And they're trying to get him in school for autistic children at Gravesend. But for every 25 children, there are only 6 vacancies. So you can see how difficult it is to get him in there. And if he doesn't go, I'm afraid he'll end up in a mentally subnormal hospital when he grows up. And, well, he tries to cut himself off from reality by rocking. And as he's getting older, it's getting more and more difficult for him to cut himself off. And it doesn't do anything for him. He still is conscious of what's going on.
No one has found anything which you can call curative. But this doesn't mean that nothing can be done. Education, started at the right time and in the right way, can be of an enormous help to the children.
I think unless autistic children are helped, unless this problem is faced as parents of normal children face problems with their children, autistic children do not grow out of their difficulties. It continues.
They certainly, when they're young, they do seem to be indifferent to other people and just not interested. But as they grow older, you can see that they really do have all the normal emotions deep inside. They differ very greatly in the extent to which they can respond. And some of them, as they get older, do become very openly friendly and warm.
And he's got a lion.
It's got a lion in it.
Miss Margaret lots to his language. A real
Take that
lion.
and show Miss Smiley.
A real lion. Not tap off it.
What does a lion do?
What's a lion? Woof woof.
Goes woof woof. I never heard a lion go woof woof.
What's a lion do?
What does it do?
What?
That's right.
That's how they bite.
Stephen is now 12 years old. He has a brother 2 years older than him and 3 sisters younger. It's very difficult fitting a child like Stephen in with a family. When Stephen was about 5, a friend sent us an article from a national newspaper describing autistic children, and this was the first time that we had any realisation that Stephen was autistic. Took him to the local clinic and suggested that he could be the same, and they said no, but we insisted, my husband and I, and took him up to Great Ormond Street, where Dr. Mildred Creek said he showed marked autistic symptoms. Start your reading. Come on. Stephen, do you want that Coca-Cola?
Yes. Here is Daddy with 2 the car.
We had kids' parties, and
Says
he just used to have a rocking horse, and he'd sit on that. And they didn't exist, all these other kids and all the noise. He didn't seem to hear noise. I think so total was this withdrawal, he seemed to neither hear nor see.
They have no imagination, they can't play, and they can't play with other children. And altogether, life is very difficult for them.
What makes that car?
What make is it?
Should you take these out?
No.
Why must I take these out?
Why mustn't you take those out?
Why?
He rather gets obsessional on one subject, cars, which is his favourite one. He knows a great deal about cars, recognises all the foreign makes, or any part of the car, he'll tell you which car it comes off. It's difficult to get him away from this subject.
Mum's got maps.
No, I don't have any maps.
Daddy has maps.
Yes, Daddy has lots of maps.
What's the maps made of?
What are they made of?
Not metal.
No.
Leather.
Maps?
Leather.
They're not made of leather, are they?
How long to get the maps out of the car?
Just a minute.
I'm not joking.
What are they made of?
Reckless.
Paper.
What?
Paper.
How long to get the maps out?
How long?
Car? Minute. So you take long getting maps out of the car?
I think had more time been able to be spent using the knowledge of cars and relating it to his hands, if only to start on a small scale of mending small things and using his hands more, this could have helped. Stephen's now at a training centre which is for severely subnormal children, but it isn't right for his type of child. I can't see any maps. Are you kidding me?
At the moment, there's something like 23 specialised units, educational units for autistic children, and about 18 of these are clustered around the southeast of England, which leaves a very small number for the rest of the country, whereas it's a logical assumption that autistic children can be found in equal numbers anywhere you like to look. It is a problem in many parts of the country for parents to find doctors who know about this condition and who can pick up the handicaps and arrange for the child's future.
Autistic children grow older, of course, in the same way as other children grow older.
He showed signs of autism at the age of 1. When he was 4, we took him to a little nursery school and thinking we might get him to talk by mixing with other kiddies. Well, he didn't. So when he became 5, they said he was ineducable, and the only thing they could offer was the occupational centre for the mentally handicapped. Well, I didn't think it was suitable. I still don't think it's suitable. Nobody knew what was wrong with him. He looked so normal, and yet he didn't talk. We took him to Manchester University for his hearing. It was normal. So we didn't know what to do. I read in a little magazine about these autistic children. I asked my own doctor about it, and I said I thought he was autistic, and he agreed. And he said you could have something there, and we've got a marvellous doctor. I couldn't speak highly enough of him. He was doing a jigsaw when the doctor came. He was surprised how quickly William could do these jigsaws. There's no trouble in the house, but he's bored to death with being stuck in here with us all the time. He's autistic, yes, but nothing's been done.
Hospital?
No, you won't go to the hospital. What is this? What's that?
Shopping bag?
Shopping bag.
For Daisy's in the shop?
Yes, when you go to the shop. And that's
Dolly?
Dolly's.
Pram?
Dolly's pram.
But
What are these, Will? What can you see there?
Onion? Onion?
No,
Umbrella?
umbrella.
That's Auntie Nan's, no?
Here's Auntie Nancy there. Auntie Nancy had a pretty dress on, isn't it? That's
Bedroom?
Pedro. I taught him with old catalogues to name things. For a long time he didn't say anything. And then one day he picked it up and he started saying chair, table, dress. And I thought, well, if he isn't saying them in the right order, at least he's talking. But he was saying them in the right order, because I had a look.
Daisy?
Well, that was the first time he said any words at all. He'd be about 5 to 6 at that time. Say them, nice, aren't you? Tell me what you mean. Tell me what is it? Now that my husband and I are getting older, we're very worried because nothing is being done in Cheshire, nothing at all. They don't seem to want to know, to be quite honest. Dad, see the man there? Can you see there, love? Sir?
Boat.
What was Will? Well, the worry is what is going to become of him when we get too old to look after him. If he's not going to get any help now while we're here, don't want to die and have something done then. Because I've given most of my life to this. Well, 21 years of it. So there are other people in the same position that I am, but didn't they say that there are hardly any autistic children in Cheshire?
At one time they did, but there's a very good doctor down the Wirral, and he's found quite a few down in the Wirral section. You see, it all seems to depend upon whether you have a doctor who can recognise it. Wherever there's a doctor who can recognise it, a lot of children are found. You see, other places have none or one, so they say.
What is going to be done about our children? That's what I want to know now. William is everything in the world to me, because I know the potentiality is there, and he needs help. And I'm willing to help in any way. I'm not asking people to do things for me. I'm willing to pull my weight with them, but I can't do it by myself. And I think it's wrong that he's been left here and nobody has been to see him, to see how he's getting on, or even to see if he's alive.
There's our lad, and we know another lad in Cheshire who's had no state education at all, and his father says they owe my lad 10 years education, and we think that he's got a very good point there.
It's the government's responsibility, and they should do something. They've neglected it long enough.
Go on, John, let's see you do it. I personally feel there are far more autistic children around that have never been properly diagnosed. With one exception, all the parents I know have had to find out through newspaper articles that there's such a thing as autism exists. And having found out or believing that their child is autistic, they'll go to their doctor or their clinic, who still seem reluctant to ever accept that the child is autistic. The parents still have to go further to get the correct diagnosis.
Yes. Where's it been then?
The first thing we thought of doing was find out if they would start a unit in this area, and they said definitely not. So I thought if there was enough children, it would be worth their while. And I found they were sending several children from this area to different schools, which was costing in the region of £1,000 a year for each child. And I thought it was safe in the long run, sending them all locally.
If something isn't done, they will end up in hospitals. But why should they?
Unless some kind of sheltered environment is provided, I think the alternatives are very grim. There are subnormality hospitals, or possibly the child stays at home with his parents. Well, this is fine while his parents are alive, but parents get older, and then what happens to him?
The National Society for Autistic Children is trying to open more schools outside London, but this is a long, slow job with the best will in the world. We'd very much like to see local authorities taking the problem seriously, looking for the children, assessing the local needs, and setting up units for them.
Why is nothing being done?
Be also my friend.